going to call in and put this on mute.
Humanities Team Conversations with God book club. Nannette's with us, but she's got to do something right now, so we're going to start without her. This is Linda, I'm the reader, and let's see. So we're on page 89 of The Storm Before the Calm, Conversations with Humanity, Book 1. This is Conversation 14, Questions 5, 6, and 7, One Person's Thoughts. My answers to the last 3 questions came all in a rush for me, so I'm going to include them all in a single conversation. Question number 5, where am I? My answer is that I am on the eternal journey of the soul. I am moving on that journey from the realm of the spiritual to the realm of the physical to the realm of the virtual in the continuing cycle. The realm of the spiritual is the realm of the absolute, where everything exists in its absolute state. In this realm, there is only love. It is always now, and there is only here. This state of always here, now, love has sometimes been called heaven. In truth, it is but a part of heaven, one of 3 aspects or expressions in paradise. In my kingdom, there are many mansions. This realm may also be called the realm of knowing, because everything that is utterly and completely known. Hang on a second. The realm of the physical is the realm of the relative, where things exist relative to other things. Here, there is an up and down, big and small, fast and slow, hot and cold, here and there, before and after, male and female, and an entire universe of what appear to be dualities, but are really triads. More on this later. This realm may also be called the realm of experiencing, because the soul places itself here in order to experience, in relative terms, what it knows itself to be absolutely. The realm of the virtual is the realm of virtually everything, always. It is what we would call in today's technological terms, a virtual reality. That is exactly as on a computer, we are all making it up. Okay, hang on another second. My dog is having a bad day. Maybe this will be better for her. Okay, God is the great maker-upper, or if you prefer a more respectful and reverent language, God is the creator. This realm is the place of pure being, where that which is resides in its isness. This is the place of the all in all, the whole of everything, the power and the glory, the sum total. This realm may also be called the realm of being. My current location. I am right now in the realm of the physical. This is not a way station outside of heaven where I work in some way to make myself worthy of returning to God, nor is it a school where I must make passing grades. There is nothing for me to learn. There is only for me to remember. Everything I needed to know, I knew when I arrived here. It is part of my cellular encoding. The 300-year tree outside my window knows nothing more now about how to be a tree than it knew when it was a seedling, no bigger than the nail on my little finger. All it has done is grow into itself, becoming more of what it always was. Where am I? I am doing precisely the same thing. Nor is this place where I am a testing ground, where I am put through my paces to make sure I am up to snuff. I was perfect when I arrived here. I am perfect in this moment, and I will ever and always be perfect through the entirety of my eternal and everlasting life. This place, called Earth, is simply and magnificently a place where I am able, because of its relative environment, to experience in lifetime after lifetime any and every aspect of God that it brings me joy to express in me, through me, as me. There is nothing I have to do, nowhere I have to go, and no way I have to be, except exactly the way I am being right now. My happiness is knowing this. My joy is expressing it. My bliss is experiencing it. There's no journey, really. These three realms, this whole construction, if you will, was given to me in my conversations with God. There is obviously much more to explain about all of this. I'm skimming the surface here because to go much deeper would be to fill 2 books. I went this far because I felt it was only fair to offer the answers to these questions that have emerged through me and in me as a result of my own soul searching and my direct questioning of God. Not everyone would come up with these same answers, even if they too questioned God. I am clear that God speaks to each of us in the language and using the terms and offering the analogies and illustrations that God knows will best allow us to understand with our finite minds the infinite reality. If you would like more of what I was given about the realms visited on the journey of the soul, I invite you to read my books, Home with God and A Life That Never Ends, and When Everything Changes, Change Everything. For now, let me end my answer to question 5 with this. We are not really journeying anywhere. There is nowhere to go in the kingdom, as it is always now here. The illusion of movement from one realm to another throughout the ever movement that we call eternity is the result of the placing of our attention on one part or another of that which is always present. Yet even the placing of attention implies the existence of time, because the placing of attention on this or what appears to be a sequential activity. I assure you, however, that there is no such thing as time as we commonly understand it, and that we have all our attention on all our creation in all the spaces of all of it, all the time. Words, says Conversations with God, are the least reliable form of communication. And this is never more true than when trying to explain the macho reality or the macro reality in micro terms. Question 6, why am I here? My thought is that I am in the realm of the physical, or what may also be called the realm of the relative, because I desire a contextual field within which to experience what I know of myself and to experience it fully. I cannot experience who I am in the realm of the spiritual because there is nothing I am not. And in the absence of what I am not, what I am is not. That is, it is not experienceable. You cannot experience what you are except in the presence of what you are not. Okay, took care of that. Let me go on reading. The light cannot be experienced without the darkness. Up has no meaning in experience without down. Fast is simply a term, a word having no meaning whatsoever without slow. Only in the presence of the thing called small can the thing called big be experienced. We can say that something is big. We can imagine that something is big. We can conceptualize something as being big. But in the absence of something that is small, big cannot be experienced. Likewise, in the absence of something finite, infinity cannot be experienced. Put into theological terms, in the absence of something that is not God, the thing called God cannot be experienced. We can know divinity conceptually, but we cannot know it experientially. Therefore, all the people, places, and events of your life, now or in the past, which seem to be at odds with who you are and what you choose to experience, are simply gifts from the highest source, created for you and brought to you through the collaborative process of co-creating souls, allowing you to find yourself in a contextual field within the fullest experience of who you really are becomes possible. Or to put this as God put it to me, I have sent you nothing but angels. A statement I never forgot. The cycle of my eternal journey from the realm of the virtual to the realm of the spiritual to the realm of the physical, then returning to the realm of the virtual where the cycle begins all over again, has a purpose. It is important for me to know this, lest I think that I am on an endless merry-go-round. The purpose of the cycle of life is to expand the reality of God. In simple terms, and these are simple terms, God is growing, becoming more itself through this process. God is this process. That is, God is the process itself and the result of it. Thus, God is the creator and the created, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the unmoved mover, the unwatched watcher. In not so simple terms, God cannot grow because everything God ever was, is now, and ever will be, is now. There is no time, and there is no space. Therefore, there is no time in which to grow, and no space into which to grow. The cycle of life is therefore occurring simultaneously everywhere. What my human mind wants to call God's growth is merely God's experiencing more and more of itself as God's individuations experience more and more of themselves. This is called evolution. By the unique, elegant, and remarkably simple invention of individuation, God made it possible for the always all and the everything now to experience itself in a way that could make growth possible. Simply stated, that was accomplished by the whole, by dividing, but not separating itself from itself, recreating itself in smaller and finite form. No finite form, by the very reasoning of its finite being, could hold the infinite consciousness, awareness, and experience of the whole, yet each individuated self was designed in such a way that we call expansion of consciousness, awareness, and experience to a place where once again equaled that of the whole was possible through a process by which the individuated aspect did not grow actually, but simply became more and more aware that it did not have to grow, but actually was in its individuated form, identical to the whole. The story is there. The unfoldment is awaited. Let me see if I can illustrate this. Hold a DVD of your favorite movie in your hand. Notice that the entire movie exists on the disc. When you put the DVD player DVD into the player and watch the story unfold, you know at some level that everything has already happened. The disc didn't create the story as it goes along. It is simply accessing the story. It is simply projecting a minuscule portion of what is all there in whole and complete form onto your computer or television screen, frame by frame. When you hit fast forward, you can actually watch this process of accessing the story unfold rapidly, no longer in real time, as you understand, quote, real time. That's as close as I can come to explaining what is going on in your life and mine. Everything that ever was, is now, and ever will be, is now. The universe is the original disc. It is one of many in God's hands. Don't believe it? Fair enough. My answer may not be yours, but I am intrigued by this from Shakespeare. Quote, "There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt in your philosophy." Close quote. That's from Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 5. Question 7. What do I intend to do about that? My idea is that I intend to keep myself aware that I am engaging in the process of God. God is a process. You are engaged in that process now. You always have been. I always have been, and I always will be. This is nirvana. This is pure bliss. For pure bliss is the process of God-godding. If people do not experience life in this way, it is because they do not know who they are, where they are, why they are where they are, or what they intend to do about it. Here in the realm of the physical, I am producing and then living within a contextual field in order that experience may occur. What experience? The experience I choose. God is a process. You are engaged in that process now. I make this choice by my co-creation of and my response to the contextual field, and my decision with regard to it. Within the contextual field, I can react, create, or intend. It is up to me. The process by which I experience what I came to physicality to experience is a process of increasing my awareness of the process itself. As I become more and more aware, I move from reaction to creation, to invention, to expression. The neophyte reacts, the student creates, the master intends, the divine expresses. What do I intend to do about that? The life in the realm of the physical invites me to know, and to know that I know. It invites me to master the moment. I can do this by moving into each moment, deciding ahead of time what I intend to express. I'm inviting myself not to live my life as an experience of reaction, nor even as an experience of creation, but as an experience of intention, producing the experience of divinity. This is what I call fulfillment. The neophyte reacts, the student creates, the master intends, the divine expresses. In truth, I cannot create anything because everything has already been created. I am wasting my time trying to create something that is child's play. When I am trying to create peace, security, opportunity, prosperity, happiness, and love, I am in the sandbox playing with toys. I did not come here for that. I came here to experience myself as who I really am, to express through me as divinity an aspect of divinity, and to create myself anew in the next grandest version of the greatest vision I ever held about who I am. When I do that, all those other things I am trying to produce in my life come to me without effort. I could, of course, be wrong about all of this, but my experience has shown otherwise. And I have not found a more inspiring or more exciting way to live. Points I hope you'll remember. There are 3 realms in the kingdom of God. We are now in the realm of the physical. We are not here to learn anything or to be tested. We are here to experience any aspect of divinity that we wish. That is what makes this a paradise. You cannot experience what you are except in the presence of what you are not. God is a process, and you are part of that process right now. Action I hope you will take. Completely rearrange your thinking about this place called Earth. Begin to experience life on Earth as it is in heaven. That is, as if this were a paradise. In order to do this, you have to rearrange your thinking about who you are and about how life works. You would have to adopt a new perspective, a perspective of the soul, on why things are happening the way they are happening, on what the purpose of every event is, and how we can put these events to that purpose in a meaningful way. Make a list of conditions, experiences, and circumstances that have existed or now exist in your life that create a context allowing you to experience who you are by presenting you with who and what you are not. Bless those experiences and circumstances and forgive yourself for ever having made them wrong or not okay with you, if in fact you ever did. Embrace them now in your heart as gifts that each of them were and are. End of chapter.
Well, that's an easy one. I really love that God is a process and I am engaged in that process. And that helps me with grasping the whole concept of being the divine, you know, like really embodying that feeling of I am a drop of that ocean. So as I go about my days, if I remember that it's a process, and this process, you know, that's what I'm doing here. That's what I'm doing here. I am being my little drop of the divine in the process. I like that a lot. And the other,
I agree, Mary.
yeah. The other thing that really struck me was that I have sent you nothing but angels.
Yep.
Because I've gone through times in life when that was not as easy to see, and I really have sort of looked back at all the experience that didn't feel like that was an angel at the time, and look for the gift. I always look for the gift in whatever happens, you know. And it's making me think about certain people in prominent positions who it's hard for me to see them as angels sometimes, but you know, they are triggering transformation in a pretty amazing way. So that's, you know, helpful with that. So thank you for letting me talk. I just also want to say hi, Mohana. It's nice to see you back. Been a while. You're muted.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be back. Nice to see all your lovely faces. Yeah, following up from what Mary said, absolutely. In these strange times, you cannot experience what you are except in the presence of what you are not. So clearly, we're in the presence of what we are not right now, and hopefully that will lead on to what we are, what we choose to be.
Oh, hang on, stop video. Thank you. I've got lots of things going through my head. I don't know if I can remember them all. I did jot down a few thoughts throughout that reading. I would hook on to what Neil says, I have not found a more inspiring or more exciting way to live. And I thought through that chapter how blessed we are to have this understanding. And it's a chapter that I feel I'd like to reread. And I think this book has come absolutely at the right time for me. I think if I'd read it maybe 12 months ago, although we've read the material more or less before, I think even 12 months ago, perhaps I wouldn't have been able to understand it as I do now. But I'm also inspired by the chapter to reread Home with God, and also When Everything Changes, Change Everything, which I haven't read. I don't think we've read it here. Perhaps we could consider that. I like the analogy of the disc. He also talks about the computer game, which is another sort of take on that, which gives us an easy understanding of how things are. And also what came to mind was today's daily quote for August 23 on the from book 1. It says, now, having seen the differences between where you are and where you want to be, begin to change, consciously change your thoughts, words and actions to match your grandest vision. And then it goes on to say, this will require tremendous mental and physical effort. It will entail constant moment-to-moment monitoring of your every thought, word and deed. It will involve continued choice-making consciously. This whole process is a massive move to consciousness. And when I read that today, I thought, oh my gosh, tell me about it. You know, it's a daily massive move to consciousness, I think. And sometimes I think perhaps life would be more simple if we were ignorant of all these things, you know, but that is, it's a fleeting thought, and it's not my true feeling, if you like, because it is a constant daily struggle to keep up, I think, with this. And there was another thing that I wanted to say, but it escapes me, so I will say over, and if I think of it, I'll come back. Thank you.
I think this is an interesting conversation, and I think the timing of this chapter is really fascinating, because just in the last week, I've had like some kind of an epiphany about this process that we're living, right? And I had to drive to Anchorage this week and drive back, and on the way up, I had just like a major insight, and that major insight is that I need to get out of the way, right? And I think that that's what this chapter is about, is embracing the process and getting the ego part of ourselves out of the way and allowing God to express through each of us, because that's why we're here, right? We're not here for a lesson. We didn't come here to get punished. We're here, each of us, because God wants the experience that we're going to have. And so I was listening. There's this wonderful band called Casting Crowns, if you're not familiar with them. Oh, there, it did post. It just must have taken a while. Oh, no, that's Mohan. Oh, there, okay, you got it to paste. Thank you, Mohan. It wouldn't paste. But this song, I'm driving, and it brings me to my knees, because basically in this song, it says, you know, what if I gave everything to you? Like, what if when I wake up in the morning, I just give my life over to God and let God guide me? And I think that probably most of us in this circle would probably say, well, that's what I do. But you know what? I mean, I know that we had that intention, but for myself, I realized in this epiphany moment driving down the highway, tears rolling down my face while this song is playing over and over because I kept replaying it. And you should listen, you should look it up and listen to it because it's got a real hook to it. Is that I haven't been. As much as I've been trying, I haven't been there. I'm not there yet. And so this chapter for me is really, it's like the icing on the cake because that, just like Mary said, that process, it's a process. And so I'm going to sleep every night with the hello, divine I am, hello, and I'm waking up that way. And I'm living this song at this point. It's like, we're here. This is it. This is why we're here. Life hasn't sent us anything but angels. And if we're looking out at the world and not seeing angels, then we're not getting it. And I am seeing angels. Like I'm seeing incredible angels in all the angst that's there, right? The light is there. So that's it. I'm complete. Thank you for listening.
I think that's really interesting. And I don't know if we've read this book because I don't remember which book this is in. But Neil goes through this bit where he's taking a walk and he sees a rock and he says, I am that. And then he sees a flower and he says, I am that. And then he sees a church and he says, I am that. And this chapter kind of almost is doing the exact opposite. Or am I just losing my last marble? Over.
I would like to share an experience I had today that connects with what we were reading. It was just before, it's evening here, and I was walking my daily forest walk. And it is like everything goes away when I walk there because it's so beautiful. And I climb up the hills and so on. And it is like I become the forest and the flowers and the trees and everything. I'm just it. But today happened that my body I don't need to think where to go because my body goes that way. I know that road so well. And it's in these ways, it's not on big roads. It's just small things between the trees and so on. And then the body is just moving. And I felt it was like I was not the body at all. The body is doing this work, but I was beyond that body, just in the space or in the divine source energy. And it was so wonderful experience because normally I go back and forth to that state and back to the body, but the body just did that work, and that's to be at home, even though the body was moving. So, and then when you read something about that, I said, that was a good mirror for my experience. So anyway, I have this experience often, but this was so strong today that now I know that even if I feel, oh no, I am walking, the body wants to do that walk. That's okay because it's good for my body. It's good for the body, but I am not doing anything at the same time. So that was really very peaceful. I still have it inside. So thank you for that. It just came that I wanted to share it because it was so extraordinary. Even if I have those experiences often, but not when the body is doing things. It's easy to get into all doings, but it was just moving around, and I didn't feel that the body was doing anything. It was just taking its walk. So thank you for being here. Putting down.
So are you saying, Bhima, that God was the principal actor and that you were just following along?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many aspects of the creation. This body is one aspect of the creation, and this body moved up there, but I didn't feel I was doing anything because I was somewhere else beyond that, in the stillness, just being. And that must be what you were reading about, that I was in this realm of the divine.
Yes.
My energy, my focus or my awareness was there, in a way, just beyond creation, beyond everything. And it was so peaceful. It was such a wonderful heart connected feeling. Yeah. I don't know how to explain it really, but
No, but you're spreading it, so we're experiencing it now.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing the forest in here.
thank you.
I would just say, sorry, Mary, I'll just say quickly, the beauty of that is that these moments that we experience like that are fleeting, but we are able to hold on to them within our soul. So we never forget them, and we can re-experience them, not just as you did today, but we still have that understanding and that feeling of it within ourselves. So we carry them with us, although they are fleeting glimpses of things, of experiences, if you see what I mean.
Yes, you're right. And
Yeah.
I had these experiences as a kid, when I was a child, very often, because I was very much alone walking in forest, and I was in another dimension, and I didn't meet others. I mean, I was out of the normal. I was never normal. But now I could feel that it is natural. So,
Sure. And the thing is, though, we couldn't maintain that because we wouldn't be able to live on this earth as we do and be in our body as we do. We couldn't maintain that forever, or we'd be in the oneness forever and we wouldn't know ourselves.
probably not, but maybe we can.
Maybe. Maybe, well, yeah, actually, it's made me think now.
Maybe that's why we are here, to come to that point.
Yeah. Which brings me on, I'm sorry, Mary, I'll just say, it brings me on to what I remembered that I'd forgotten. And I know it might be a bit controversial, and I know that perhaps not everybody agrees with me here, but maybe one or two do. But I really believe that there are, with the status quo, that there are nefarious forces afoot with regard to the pandemic, etc. But I think now more than ever, it gives us the opportunity, like never before, to be love. So that's it, really. And the little soul in the sun, I think, explains it perfectly. That's it. Thank you.
Can you repeat what you thought was controversial, Angela? Because I didn't catch that.
Well, don't get me started, Nannette. I could just go on for an hour. You know, the children being abused, the pandemic, the Agenda 21. There's a higher agenda, the Illuminati, Fauci, Bill Gates wants to vaccinate 7 million people, 5G. You know, it's all conspiracy theories, but I don't think so. It's just look at Agenda 21. I don't know how many of you are aware of it, but just look at Agenda 21 and that'll explain it all, basically.
How do you marry that
Okay.
with the comment, I've sent you nothing but angels?
Well, that's what they are. That's just it. The little soul in the sun explains it. You just think of that parable, whatever you call it, and that explains it. We need those evil forces, and for us to be loved like never before. And we will, you know, like Bhima says, maybe we can get to that point where we live in that awareness. Who knows? But, you know, that is my take on it. I really, really believe that there are nefarious forces afoot.
Except Neil even says there's no such thing as evil. I mean, God says to Neil,
no,
there's no such thing as evil.
No, Linda, we had this conversation before. It says in CWG the biggest evil, therefore, would be to declare nothing evil at all.
And somewhere else, he also says there is no such thing as evil.
Well, yes, because love is all there is, of course. But if there wasn't evil, we wouldn't know ourselves. It's the two polarities. We have to have it to know who we are. It's the two polarities. And it's love and fear. All emotion
All fear
comes
is
from
a
those.
lack of love.
Yes, yeah, but we have to have it, because if there was only love, we wouldn't know who we are.
It's those different realities, you know. We just read it in that chapter. There's the reality where it's all oneness and love, and then there's the reality where it's about the polarities, and then there's the virtual reality. So those things are true in different realities is what I would say to those two different quotes that seem contradictory.
I'll just say there has been protests all over the UK this weekend, yesterday, everywhere, at Dublin, Belfast, London, Manchester, Scotland, Edinburgh, everywhere there's been protests, and there is nothing on the mainstream media. But when BLM comes out, they're there recording it all, because BLM is funded by George Soros.
I would like to say something to what Bima said, if I could. My reaction as I was listening to you was, you know, oh, she has this lovely forest where she can go walking. I wish I had a lovely forest nearby. I love walking among the trees. I feel God in the trees. And here where I live, it's just suburbia, it's houses, blah, blah. And then I thought, well, but you know, if I'm being the process of God, I can have the same connection with God, because I am God, walking around my little neighborhood in suburbia with the cute little houses and the pretty flowers or whatever. You know, God isn't, this was more for me really, but God isn't only in the forest or in the ocean, which I got to see yesterday, because I find God easy in nature. Like I find it easy to find that connection. But God is also here in my little neighborhood, in the people on the bicycle, in the cute little houses with the barking dogs. You know, that's all God too. And I can still be that God process here in my normal life when I'm not out in nature having that lovely connection. So that was what you showed me, Bima, with your story. And I thank you for that.
Thank you. I agree with you, because I can have those experiences sometimes when I am in the city with a lot of people or at an airport or whatever. But it was so strong today, because just when you think, oh, I have to walk, I should be good enough to do my walk so the body feels well. And suddenly the body was doing it itself. So thank you for that. But it can happen everywhere. And I believe that is what we are here for. I got that insight in the meditation recently, a message really, that when I said this, why are there so much suffering and separation? The only reason is because we are going to learn how to go beyond that. So because when we come into oneness, we will know that everyone is in that potential or awareness, and we will change our life on planet Earth in a way as a humanity. I'm sure that's why I am here. I have no other reason to be here. I think that's why you are here reading this book. Otherwise we wouldn't do it. So it's because of coming to this oneness and experience it really deeply. So thank you for that, Mary. I'm with you.
Nannette, I found your marble. You thought you'd lost your last one.
I'm really glad you found it.
Do you want me to tell you about it?
Yes, please.
Okay. In the Bible, when Moses says to God, so what's your name? And God says, I am that I am, right? And so Moses thinks, gee, that's a funny name. But the way Neil talks about it, and the book we read, I think, was Communion with God. And Neil walks around everywhere saying, I am that I am. Like, I am is what God was saying. He wasn't scratching his head and saying, I am that, like it's not like God forgot who he was. So
Right.
when Neil needed some humility, God said, look at that homeless person. And instead of saying, there, but for the grace of God, go I, why don't you just say, I am that I am? Because then you see God in him and you get off your high horse.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think, and you said you think that's in communion with God?
Well, it's in one of the books we read together.
That just cracks me up. We've only read a couple. And I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you. Because I do think it's like I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's out in her garden, and she's just on a bender about killing all the grasshoppers. And I wanted to say, but I didn't want to get started in a long conversation. But I said, there's ways you can get rid of them without killing them. And my general rule is if a bug or a snake is outside, they're fine. But cross my threshold and I may react very differently. But anyway, what you were saying, I totally agree with. I am that I am, or whatever the saying is, because it compounds that I am. I want to call it power, but that's not really the word I'm looking for. Over.
It's a reminder from a poem by Hafiz that we're all jewels on God's dance floor. Like, how would you treat that person if you were really saying that we were all invited to this party by God? So we're all God's guests here. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Anybody else before we get Shabana to do our meditation? I can't believe the hour went that fast, but it did. Okay, Shabana, you want to go ahead and start the meditation?
Yes, I do. So God,
Take it away.
Here we are again, God. And there's just a simple request we've got today, which is just completely rearrange our thinking about this place called Earth. That's all. Nothing big. Amen. Oh, and I forgot to mention we're required to do nothing too. So let's all go do nothing and learn nothing, I guess. It's going to be a good week.
You're too funny. And I appreciate you doing that. And I was just going to say, hopefully next week, I should be receiving a new computer in the next couple days. And I can get rid of my computer woes. And I am that. I am that. So anyway, I thank everybody. Thank Linda for reading. And thank everybody who added to the conversation. And those that are just holding a space thinking. That's important, even if you didn't make a comment today. Sometimes I just listen. And so anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here. And we'll see each other next week.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.